I am sitting in a lawyer's office right now, holding a folder full of documents that represent 32 years of my life. 32 years of being the second son, the backup plan, the one who was always just a little less important. My younger brother always got the best of everything. The biggest room, the newest toys, the most attention, but nothing compared to the Tesla, that bright red $65,000 Tesla Model 3 that my parents gave him for his 21st birthday. I never thought a car could destroy a family, but that Tesla did. Before we dive into what happened, let me know in the comments where you are watching from. If this story sounds familiar, or if you have ever felt invisible in your own family, hit that like button and subscribe, because what I am about to share will show you how one decision changed everything. Trust me, you will not believe how this ends. My name is Wyatt. I am 32 years old and I work as a software engineer in Seattle. My younger brother Brandon just turned 21 this past June. Our dad Robert owns a small construction company in the suburbs of Portland, and our mom Linda teaches preschool. On the surface we looked like a normal American family, but underneath there was always this current of inequality that I learned to live with. Brandon was born when I was 11. From the moment he came into the world, he became the center of everything. I understood it at first. Babies need attention. But as the years went by, that attention never shifted back. It just intensified. Every achievement Brandon made was celebrated like he had won the Nobel Prize. Every achievement I made was met with a nod and a, "That is nice, Wyatt." When I turned 16, my parents gave me a used Honda Civic from 2003. It needed new brakes, the air conditioning did not work, and the passenger door made a horrible creaking sound every time someone opened it. I was grateful, do not get me wrong. Having any car at 16 felt like freedom. But when Brandon turned 16, my parents bought him a brand new Ford Mustang from 2019. Glossy black paint leather seats, a sound system that could wake the dead. I remember standing in the driveway watching him rev the engine, and my dad clapping him on the back like he had just accomplished something extraordinary. All Brandon did was turn 16, same as I had done 5 years earlier. I told myself it was okay. I convinced myself that my parents just wanted to give Brandon what I never had. They were in a better financial position now. The construction business was doing well. Mom had gotten a raise. It made sense, right? But deep down in a place I did not want to acknowledge, it hurt. It hurt every single time. This past June, my parents threw a huge birthday party for Brandon at their house. I drove 3 hours from Seattle to Portland to attend. I brought him a gift that I had saved up for a pair of high-end wireless headphones worth $300. It was a month of careful budgeting, but I wanted to give him something nice. I wanted to show that I cared even though I felt like my gestures were never really noticed. The party was in full swing. There were at least 50 people there. Friends from high school, college buddies, relatives I had not seen in years. The backyard was decorated with balloons and streamers. There was a catered barbecue spread that must have cost a fortune. And then the moment that made my stomach drop. My dad pulled Brandon outside to the front yard. Everyone followed. There was a car parked in the driveway covered with a red tarp. My dad grinned, looking around at the crowd like a magician about to perform his greatest trick. He grabbed the corner of the tarp and yanked it off. Underneath was a Tesla Model 3 Performance in brilliant gleaming red. The sunlight bounced off the paint like it was liquid fire. The crowd gasped. Brandon screamed, literally screamed. He jumped up and down, threw his arms around our dad, then our mom, then back to our dad. People clapped and cheered. Someone started chanting his name. I stood there frozen. $65,000. That was the price tag on that car. I knew because I had been looking at Teslas myself, dreaming about maybe buying one in a few years when I had saved enough. My parents had just given one to my 21-year-old brother, who had not worked a single day in his life to earn it. Mom looked over at me, her smile faltering just a bit. She walked over and said quietly, "Aren't you happy for your brother Wyatt?" I forced a smile. I hugged Brandon and said, "Congratulations." I shook my dad's hand. I played the role of the supportive older brother, but inside I felt like I was shattering. When I graduated from college with honors in computer science, my parents gave me a watch. A decent watch, sure. It cost about $150. I wore it for a year before the band broke. Brandon got a Tesla. After the party wound down and most of the guests had left, I found my dad in the garage. He was putting away folding chairs, humming to himself. I took a breath and approached him. "Dad, can I talk to you for a second?" He looked up, wiping his hands on his jeans. "Sure, son. What is on your mind?" "Isn't $65,000 a bit much for a 21-year-old? His expression changed immediately. The warmth drained from his face. "Your brother deserves it. He just graduated college with honors. I graduated with honors too. Dad, you gave me a watch." His jaw tightened. "Don't be jealous, Wyatt. You are 32 years old. You should have made something of yourself by now instead of comparing yourself to your brother." That sentence hit me like a punch. I had a good job. I paid my own rent, my own bills. I had worked my way up in a competitive field. But in his eyes, I had not made something of myself. In his eyes, I was a disappointment. I did not argue. There was no point. I just nodded, said good night, and walked to my car. I drove 3 hours back to Seattle in the dark, tears streaming down my face for the first 2. I had spent my entire life trying to earn my parents' approval, trying to be good enough. And it was never going to happen. When I got home, I made a decision. I was going to distance myself from my family for a while. I turned off notifications for the family group chat. I stopped calling every week. I responded to messages only when absolutely necessary. 2 months passed. 2 quiet, peaceful months where I focused on my work, my friends, my own life. It felt like I could finally breathe. Then on a Friday afternoon in August, my phone rang. It was my mom. I almost did not answer, but something told me I should. "Wyatt, you need to come home right now." Her voice was shaking. She was crying. My heart jumped into my throat. "What happened? Is someone hurt?" "It is the Tesla. It is destroyed, and your father says it is your fault." I stood up from my desk, my mind racing. "My fault, Mom. I have not been home in 2 months. Please, Wyatt, just come home. We need to sort this out." I told my boss I had a family emergency and left work immediately. The 3-hour drive felt like an eternity. I kept trying to figure out what could have possibly happened. How could a car being destroyed be my fault when I had not even been in the same city? It made no sense. But nothing about my family's logic ever really made sense when it came to protecting Brandon. I arrived at my parents' house just after 9 in the evening. The Tesla was parked in the driveway, and the sight of it made me stop cold. The entire body of the car was covered in deep scratches, like someone had taken a key and dragged it along every panel. Both side mirrors were snapped off, hanging by their wires. The windshield had a massive crack running from one corner to the other. All 4 tires were completely flat, slashed and deflated. Brandon was sitting on the front steps, his face red and swollen from crying. My dad stood next to the car, his arms crossed, his face purple with rage. The second he saw me, he exploded. "You did this, didn't you?" I stared at him, completely stunned. "What, Dad? I have been in Seattle for 2 months. Don't lie to me." He pointed at the scratches. "You were always jealous of your brother. You couldn't stand that he got something nice, so you came here and destroyed it." My mom stood in the doorway crying quietly. She did not say anything to defend me. She just stood there. Brandon looked up at me, his eyes filled with anger and hurt. "I know it was you, Wyatt." The accusation felt like a knife in my chest. My own family, the people who were supposed to know me better than anyone, genuinely believed I was capable of this. I forced myself to stay calm. "Dad, check the security cameras. You have them all over the house. If I did this, it will be on video." He hesitated. For a moment, I thought he was going to refuse, but finally he pulled out his phone and opened the app for the security system. He scrolled back 3 days and pulled up the footage from the driveway camera. We all gathered around the small screen. The video showed Brandon stumbling out of the house at 2 in the morning. He was clearly drunk, swaying as he walked. He had a key in his hand. We watched in silence as he dragged that key along the side of the Tesla over and over, carving deep lines into the paint. Then he went into the garage and came back with a baseball bat. He smashed the side mirrors. He cracked the windshield. Then he pulled out a knife and stabbed each tire until they hissed and collapsed. The silence that followed was deafening. I looked at my dad. His face had gone from red to white. I looked at Brandon, who was staring at the ground, fresh tears rolling down his cheeks. "You blamed me without even checking," I said quietly. My dad said nothing. He just stood there, the phone still in his hand. I turned to Brandon. Why would you destroy your own car?" Brandon's voice was barely a whisper. "I got fired from my internship. I kept showing up late. I couldn't tell Mom and Dad. I was so ashamed. I got drunk, and I lost it." Our mom rushed over to him, wrapping her arms around him. "Oh, sweetie, it is okay. We will fix everything." Not a single word of apology to me. Not from her. Not from my dad. Not from Brandon. I stood there, my whole body shaking. 32 years of this. 32 years of being the backup, the scapegoat, the one who did not matter. I drove 3 hours because you accused me of something I did not do. I said, my voice steady now. "Don't I deserve an apology?" My dad waved his hand dismissively. "Fine. I am sorry. Now help us figure out how to fix this mess." "Fix Brandon's mess, you mean?" My mom looked at me, exasperated. "Wyatt, don't be difficult. Family helps each other." I laughed. It was a bitter, hollow sound. "Family? You accused me of vandalizing a car without even asking me first. You didn't call to see if I had an alibi. You just assumed I did it because it was easier than believing your golden boy could do something wrong." Brandon was still crying, still being comforted by our mother. My dad looked irritated, like I was the one causing problems. And that was when it hit me. This was never going to change. I could be the perfect son for another 32 years, and it would not matter. They had decided a long time ago who I was in this family. I was the expendable one. A decision formed in my mind. It was clear. It was final. "I am leaving," I said. My dad frowned. "Where are you going?" "We need to discuss the insurance claim." I stopped at my car door and turned around. "Insurance claim? You mean the one where Brandon destroyed his own car while drunk? That insurance claim?" My dad went silent. I pulled out my phone. I recorded the security footage. "If you file a false claim and commit insurance fraud, I have proof. Figure this out yourselves." My mom's eyes went wide. "Wyatt, you wouldn't. I am not going to help you break the law. And I am definitely not going to be blamed for something I didn't do. Good luck." I got in my car and drove back to Seattle. For the first time in my entire life, I felt a strange sense of relief. I was done being the one who bent over backwards for people who did not appreciate me. I was done being the safety net. I was done. 2 days later, my dad called. His tone was different, not angry, but careful. "Wyatt, we need your help." The repair estimate came back. "It is going to cost $42,000 to fix the Tesla." And I said, "Your mother and I don't have that kind of money right now. The business has been slow." I almost laughed. "So you want me to pay for the car Brandon destroyed?" "You are family," he said like that, explained everything. "We helped you through college. You gave me student loans that I paid back in full, Dad. Every single penny. With interest. Don't be ungrateful. We raised you. We fed you. We clothed you. And you accused me of a crime without a second thought. No, Dad. I am not paying for Brandon's mistakes. You will have to figure it out on your own." He was quiet for a moment. Then his voice turned cold. "You are going to regret this, Wyatt. Maybe. But I doubt it." He hung up. Within an hour, the family group chat exploded. My mom sent a long message about how disappointed she was in me. My Aunt Patricia, my mom's older sister, chimed in saying that family takes care of each other, and I was being selfish. My cousin Jake sent a message saying it was just money, and I should help my brother out. Even Brandon sent a message apologizing and begging me to help. I muted the group chat. I blocked calls from my parents' numbers temporarily. I needed space to think. I called my best friend Marcus and told him everything. He listened quietly, and when I finished, he said, "Man, you have been their doormat for 32 years. It is about time you stood up." That night I could not sleep. I kept thinking about all the times I had helped my parents financially over the years. Times I had quietly given them money when they needed it, never asking for it back because I thought that was what family did. In 2019, my dad's business hit a rough patch. He needed $10,000 to cover payroll. I gave it to him. He said he would pay me back within 6 months. He never did. In 2020, my mom wanted to renovate the kitchen. She asked me for $5,000. I sent it the same day. She promised to pay me back. She never did. $15,000. That was what my parents owed me. Money I had worked hard for, money I had given freely, because I thought it would show them I cared. I had never brought it up because I did not want to seem petty. But now, sitting in my apartment, I realized something. They had taken my kindness for granted. They had taken me for granted. I opened my laptop and drafted an email. I kept it professional, almost clinical. I listed every instance where I had loaned them money, including dates and amounts. I attached screenshots of bank transfers and text messages where they had acknowledged the loans. At the end, I wrote a simple request. I wanted the $15,000 repaid within 90 days. If they could not manage that, we could set up a payment plan. But I was no longer going to let this debt disappear into the void. I also made it clear that I would not be lending money anymore. I would not be the fallback plan. I would not be taken advantage of. I sent the email at midnight. Then I blocked their phone numbers completely, leaving only email as a form of contact. My dad responded the next morning. His email was full of anger and guilt-tripping. He said I was tearing the family apart. He said I was choosing money over blood. He said I would regret this for the rest of my life. I wrote back one sentence. "No, Dad. You tore this family apart when you chose Brandon over me every single time." I did not wait for a response. I closed my laptop and went for a run. Over the next 2 months, I focused on myself. I threw myself into my work and got a promotion with a 20% raise. I started going to therapy to process the years of feeling invisible. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected because I was always too busy trying to please my family. I started to feel like myself again, like I mattered. It was not easy. There were nights when I questioned whether I had done the right thing. There were moments when I felt guilty for setting boundaries. But every time I started to doubt myself, I remembered standing in that driveway being accused of something I did not do, and the doubt faded. In early November, 3 months after everything fell apart, I received an email from my mom. The subject line was simple: "I am sorry." I stared at it for a long time before opening it. The email was long. She admitted that she and my dad had been wrong to favor Brandon the way they did. She said she had always worried about him more because he seemed more fragile, more in need of protection. But in doing that, she realized she had hurt me. She said she was sorry for not defending me when my dad accused me. She was sorry for expecting me to fix Brandon's problems. She was sorry for taking me for granted. She also said that my dad was not ready to apologize yet, but he had agreed to start paying back the $15,000 in monthly installments. The first payment had already been sent to my account. I checked. It was there, $500. I read the email 3 times. I did not cry. I did not feel angry. I just felt empty. Like I had waited so long to hear those words that they had lost their power. I typed a short response. "Thank you for your honesty, Mom. I need more time. I was not ready to forgive. Maybe I would be someday. Maybe I would not. But I was not going to rush it just to make things comfortable for everyone else." A week later, Brandon sent me a text. It was the first time he had contacted me directly since that night. "Wyatt, I know I messed up. I am sorry for letting them blame you. I am sorry for everything. I have been going to rehab for my drinking. I got a new job. and I am trying to pay Mom and Dad back for the car repairs. I know I do not deserve it, but I hope one day we can actually be brothers. Real brothers. I read the message several times. I thought about all the years of resentment. I thought about the Tesla, the Mustang, the watch. I thought about being 11 years old and so excited to have a baby brother, only to spend the next 2 decades feeling like I did not matter. I typed back, "I appreciate your honesty, Brandon. I hope you find your path. Maybe someday we can talk." It was not forgiveness, but it was not hatred either. It was just neutral, and for now that was enough. I sat in my apartment that night looking out at the Seattle skyline. I thought about the past 3 months, about the anger, the pain, the relief, the freedom. That one step I took, setting a boundary and demanding respect, had changed everything. It had cost me my relationship with my family, at least for now, but it had given me something I had never had before: self-respect. I used to think that love meant sacrificing yourself for others, that being a good son meant swallowing your pain and pretending everything was fine. But I learned that real love includes respect, and respect includes boundaries. I do not know what the future holds for me and my family. Maybe we will find a way back to each other. Maybe we will not. But I am okay with that uncertainty, because for the first time in 32 years I am living for myself. I am not waiting for someone else's approval to feel like I have value. That one step I took was not about revenge. It was not about punishing anyone. It was about reclaiming myself. It was about saying, I matter too. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away until you are whole again. And if the people you walk away from never see your worth, that is okay. You know it. And that is enough. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever had to set a boundary with family, even when it felt impossible? Have you ever walked away from people you love because staying was destroying you? Drop a comment below and share your story. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about standing up for yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that your worth is not determined by how others treat you. It is determined by how you treat yourself. Take care of yourselves out there. You deserve it.